it's an exciting journey, and one that, you know, goes back to when I was a kid. Actually, it's my 50th year this year, and so between the business and myself, it's certainly the festival of 50. We are a family business and we make watches, which is kind of sexy, but a family business nonetheless, and one that started at home. Dad got talked into starting our business by a mate, and he was going to import components for Dad to put together, and then he was going to sell them out on the road as well. So Dad then didn't really believe that this could come off the ground, so at 27 he headed over to Switzerland to the World Watch Fair, and he was lucky enough to meet some people along the way that without those initial meetings, like the way that we go about making our watches could be very, very different. And I think anywhere in business you just need that element of luck to get yourself going. The first little spot they had was not far from where we are now. It was in Lotus Street, just in Woolloongabba. Flooded, mosquitoes used to bite him, the sandflies used to come in under the door because it was all marshy down that part of the Gabba. Still floods there in that same spot. But then he thought, no, I can't stand the mozzies and everything, and so he set up at home, and then that led to our probably first real offices, which were in Eagle Street, which invariably then got torn down to make way for Riverside, and then we moved back to the Gabba, where we were down in Holden Street for, I don't know, 20 odd years, and then before moving to our headquarters here on Logan Rd in the Gabba. And if you're working with the best component makers in the world, which luckily we are, and that all comes back to those initial introductions, we're able to put out a very high quality watch equal to some of our big Swiss competitors. When I was at school, I had no real desire to come and work here at Adina. I wanted to be a soldier, and it was, you know, at school I was in cadets, and that was where I was heading off to. And just one of those sliding door moments that I think probably most people have in life, that the door was there to walk through, but another door slid open on somewhere else, and I just pivoted and went through that door. Dad thought I had a pretty high regard for myself, because, you know, in the mid-90s, when he said, well, I've actually got a repping job going, I sort of said, oh, right, well, actually, what does a rep do? He said, well, what you have to do is you have to go out to the customer shops and show them our watches and work out what they've sold, what they need, introduce a new range. You're traveling and you love traveling, you love working with people, this is the perfect job for you. So he just sold it to me. As it turned out, I absolutely loved it. Probably 14 years, I spent 30 odd weeks in the car plus, and I wouldn't change it for anything. Over to Western Australia and opened up all there, and you fall in with all the customers, and then you're like their guest. So it doesn't matter who you go and work for or where you take it. What I loved probably the most about the road life was when I put my paw out and the customer took it in his hand in my hand, or her hand in my hand. Everything that I brought behind that hand was mine. Yes, I represented Adina, and yes, in my mind, I've got we make the best watches, but that relationship that was developing between two people, that was all mine. You know, so I was always very passionate to give everything that I could to our retailers, and in time, you know, we have some absolutely wonderful relationships with so many retailers around Australia, and so there's so much more than just the watch, you know. There's always been a tech offering, and those tech offerings have evolved to smartwatches that are around today. For us, we've stuck with what we know. We make conventional analog timepieces. At the heart of every Adina is a Swiss repairable movement. We've maintained our relationships with our Swiss suppliers for the thick end of 50 years, and we design around those movements. In the 70s, they wanted us to make digital watches. We just stuck to what we knew that we could do well. In the 80s, Swatch was all the rage. Oh, Bob, you know, you need to make some watches that look like these. I don't know so much, you know, I don't want to go to a monocoque design and have all the tooling there. I think I'll stick with what I know. Then, you know, it was in the 90s, oh, you've got to make a surf watch, you've got to do that. We did dabble in that, you know, we didn't get burnt, but we weren't Rip Curl, we weren't Quicksilver. The genre didn't match for us, you know? So it was about, you know, being true to who we are and what we do. And so we went back to what we do well, and we do waterproof watches well that are dressy. We do ladies' waterproof watches really well. Ladies' bracelets, bracelets were huge in the early 2000s, and when I talk about a bracelet, I mean it's sort of a dress watch type of thing. Business had really started to dry off the back of the GFC. It was a bit challenging out there. There was suites of brands were flooding into Australia, and the retailers were in this sort of feeding frenzy of the next big thing. Pandora had created something that the retailers had never seen before in the jewellery sense, and our customers are all jewellers, so they're always waiting. Well, I don't want to. If I missed out on Pandora, I'm not going to miss out on the next big thing. And we're like, right. And so we kept doing what we do, keep offering the service, keep doing everything that we did well, and in the end, that has truly prevailed. We've evolved a lot of those dress watches into waterproof, so we've done what we do really well. So now we would be quite comfortably one of the only brands getting around that you can have a beautiful diamond set watch that looks like you ought to be wearing it to the Academy Awards, and you could just go and wear it to the beach. But it's always been very true to who we are and our core of waterproof, repairability, durability, and just an Australian way of life. Every watch that comes out of here we're intensely proud of. The journey that we've been on for the last 50 years hopefully is just the start for the next 50 years. I love rolling in here every day and working with our team of watchmakers and designing new things. I speak with our customers all the time. I tear around here with my backside on fire. Dad's still here every day. He's leading the watchmaking team and setting the example for us. There's that old analogy of do something you love and you never work a day in your life. So I don't know any other way to look at it. Yes, there's challenging times, but the good certainly will outweigh the bad.